Hi, my name's Steve Wakefield and welcome to this section on coachingforbusinesses.com. And here we're going to talk a little bit about the art of speaking and communication, but it's all going to be on speaking and what we say and how we say it and kind of why we say it and the various situations we can find ourselves in when we're speaking. So, when we talk about communication, the first thing we often think about is speaking, and then we tend to think about the importance of the words that we use. But I'm sure you're aware, and if you're not, then I'm about to enlighten you. The words that we actually use in communication form only about 10% of what people take from you. The words are 10%, so what's the rest? Well, another 30% is in the volume and the tone and inclination of your voice. How you're speaking. Are you speaking sarcastically? Are you speaking with a teacher-child tone? So it's the tone and the volume are very, very important when you speak. The other 60% is to do with your body language, and we look at that in another chapter. But basically, body language is your facial expression, your posture, the way you're using your hands, your arms. Your eyes are very, very important when it comes to body language. So as you can see, speaking and the words that you use are a very small part of what and how you're actually communicating. But it is very, very important, 10% of course. So what situations can we find ourselves in when we're speaking? Well, of course, we find ourselves in many situations. One-on-one situations, we're speaking to a small group of people, a large group of people. The big one, of course, public speaking, or just generally presenting. And each have got their own rules that you really need to follow when you're speaking. For example, when you're on one-on-one communication, we tend to focus then on the other person, obviously, but we're running more of it in our subconscious mind again. When we're talking to people, how many times when they've walked out of the room could you actually get a pen and paper and write down everything that was said? Were you fully focused on what that person was saying as well as what you were saying to the other person? Again, in another chapter, we'll look at listening and the art of listening, because generally we've already formed an opinion of somebody and started to formulate our response before they've finished speaking to us. So it's very important that while you're speaking, you fully engage with the person that you're talking to. Otherwise, as we all know, at times if people are very familiar around us, we kind of believe we know what they're saying and are thinking about other things rather than focusing on about what they're saying. And equally, are they doing the same to us? So it's important to note that. So of course, the big thing in speaking, and one of the things that people always talk to me about, is public speaking and the art of public speaking. And in my book, So You Want to Be a Leader, we do detail some of the things that you should be aware of when you're going to be public speaking. The first thing to be aware of is it's okay to be nervous. Most people are nervous when they come to speak publicly. The second thing is practice, and the third one actually is practice some more in what you're going to say when you're public speaking, because confidence is something that you portray when you know what you're about to say. Another thing is tell your audience what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. It sounds fairly obvious, but if you can top and tail it like that, people will take your message and be aware of your message much more than if you just tell them once. asking people to remember something, a fact you've only told them once, is asking a little bit too much of them. So it's really being aware of your audience. Know your subject. Another thing with public speaking, wherever possible, know what's expected of you. Know your audience. Know the location. Are you going to be holding a mic, wearing a mic? Have you got a podium? Have you got slides? And when you're talking about slides, never read off the slides. Be aware of what your slides are and what they say. Point out a few things on the slides. But with your tone, if you're reading from something, obviously people tend to switch off. They can read as well. They can understand what's on that slide. So just going through bullet points and talking about them is never a good idea. Have a few anecdotes. Anecdotes are brilliant when it comes to public speaking. People like stories, and something to emphasize your point using an anecdote will work wonders. Absolutely will work wonders. So that's really the art of public speaking. There are many more tips, and there are all kinds of things on the internet that are very good in helping you. But one of the key things again is talk slowly. People will have more time to absorb what you're saying if you're talking slowly, and if they get lost with you talking fast, and people do tend to talk fast when they're nervous, so just be aware of it. A few nice deep breaths. Think of a nice introduction that will calm you down, and then tell them what you tell them. Tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. Away you go. Again, if you're using props, and props are a good thing, don't use a prop every 5 seconds. But it's good. It helps break people. It helps people with their concentration when they're looking at you. So that's the art of public speaking. Now, when we're talking normally to either a group or individually, there are a number of other things that we need to be aware of when we're speaking. And again, the tone and inclination of the voice are very important. But the other thing to be aware of is how people are perceiving us. One of the key things is looking and checking with people, because when we're speaking, we're trying to impart information to people. Have they heard it? Because there's so much miscommunication that goes on out there. It's really important that you check with the people you're talking to understand that they have understood what you have meant by something. Too often, two people who've had the same conversation walk out of a room, and both of them have got totally different opinions of what was said. Why was that? Simply because there was no checking to see that what you were saying was actually heard in the way that you wanted it to be heard. Nice caveat on that one. So, have you practiced your speaking? Have you practiced speaking to a camera? Have you practiced speaking in front of a mirror? Do you really hear your tone? Again, really important. Do you hold eye contact with people? Holding eye contact with people, again, is something you should always be aware of. There are lots of notes on speaking on this webpage, so have a look at them. Check yourself. Really, if you're going to be giving a speech, try it in front of a camera. We all have cameras on our mobile phones nowadays. Use the mobile phone, set it up, run through it, play it, and I think you'll be surprised at times how fast you speak, the fact that you don't use pauses. It really is a fantastic tool now, using your mobile phones to be able to check yourself and how you're reacting. Also, at the end of any speech, or when you've been speaking to somebody, a particular group of people, don't be afraid to ask how they felt it went, and if there are some comments that are not positive, take them on board, because generally people don't want to hurt you. What they want to do is be constructive. If they thought it was too fast, If they really didn't get your message, don't shoot the messenger. Understand that they're trying to help you, and for your next talk you'll be much better prepared. So I hope that helps with speaking. In the book So You Want to Be a Leader, there is a whole chapter on speaking. And if you have any other questions, well, there's a contact page there. Why not contact me, and I'll get back to you. So all the best, and have a great speech and enjoy talking. Thanks. Bye.